Well, I guess the audio, or I guess the chat shows up right there. I Yeah, so here's the deal. Normally I do the Sunday chats on my Mac Studio, but all of a sudden it locks up like constantly, and I don't know why. So yeah, that is interesting. Um yeah, so the chat on the screen looks to show everybody, but I can either send a message to everywhere or to just one platform. It's not perfectly clear. But anyway, good to see everybody. Yeah, sorry about the weird look here. It's I don't have a great explanation why it was like that. Uh yeah. I just truly don't know. But it looks like the alert box is there, and maybe I can make this bigger. Oh, that does anything for us, but all right. There we go. Uh, okay, there's the chat. Yeah, so if you're on one platform, you won't see chat messages unless you look on the screen, which is again less convenient. I like how Restream does it. Um, so I appreciate that. I feel like I'm getting older, and my cheeks are flush, and my air conditioner. I'll try to turn it on. When I was working like crazy, I tried to turn on my air conditioner and it started making a horrifying sound. So let's try to turn it on and see if it does the same thing. Okay, so far so good. It's on, so hopefully that means that was just a weird fluke that it was like, oh, gah, 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 gah. Yeah, I am not getting younger though, and I don't know why my Mac Studio locks up. It locks up hard. Like it won't even respond to a network ping after like 30 seconds of booting. So I truly don't know what's going on there. But so I'm over here on my other computer, but I don't normally. I mean, normally if I do this, it's my like when I'm working, like my accountability live stream. But that's a whole different setup. So anyway, hello everyone. I hope you're doing well. I Yeah, I'm doing well. On last week I finished and I got the skills finished so that I am um going to get a paycheck before Christmas, which really was the concern. So let's see. I just want to see if the alerts are working. Hey, awesome. Well, that pops up too. That's just a test though. That's not real. Kevin is not a real person. Nonetheless, yeah, so I was able to do work. Oh goodness, what else? That's about I'm if you can't tell, my brain is like, what is wrong with the Mac? And it's behind me, but I obviously am not gonna try to figure it out now. It's never given me any problem. That's very, very frustrating. So I don't know what is going on there. So if in a bit of nerdy news, if you like nerdiness, so you may or may not know that like I'm selling the farm, so I had to move our little micro data center from there to my daughter's garage because they are in a rural area and they actually have the same fiber connectivity that was available at the farm. So I am just paying for their internet service, and now I'm, using a corner of their garage. But here's the issue. So my server rack, I have a big solar inverter charger thing on it. It's 2000 watts and it has a 24-volt lithium iron phosphate battery, and it will that battery is big enough that it will run the entire server rack for about 2 hours. And the night that's really nice because if there's a power blip or a power outage, it'll go a significant amount of time keeping all the servers running and stuff. And usually there's time to either start a generator or, figure out what's going on. But nevertheless, since it's in the garage, uh, apparently garages have to have GCFI or GFI outlets. They're like the ones that blow if there's an imbalance between the two legs of hot and neutral, or hot, neutral, and ground, or whatever. They're very, very sensitive to shorts, because garages have they're outside, so they could have a wet floor. If you're standing in a puddle and you plug something in, they don't want you to die. So it's part of the electrical code that every outlet has to be protected by a GFCI. And anyway, the problem is, any inverter, battery backups are notorious for it. I didn't realize this because it's never been an issue, but any inverter, like a battery backup or the giant battery backup solar inverter charger thing that I have, they inherently have a small current leak, not in a dangerous way, but it's a thing that constantly trips those outlets. And so if it was in the garage, even though it was running perfectly, there were no dangerous, ground faults or anything like that, it would trip the GFCI outlet, and it would just constantly blow. So it was very frustrating. While I was trying to figure it out, we just put a non-protected outlet in, but that's not up to code. And I really did not like being the person who was making my daughter and son-in-law's garage not in code, right? So plus, I mean, that's the code for a reason. I also didn't want anybody to get electrocuted. So I did some research, and you can apparently get an isolating transformer, and an isolating transformer is such that it has like 120 volts coming in to a giant transformer, and then 120 volts comes out. So it's like both coils are the same exact size, but it's enormous. So the one that I got is, anyway, it'll do 2000 watts, but it's just this giant transformer that doesn't actually convert from one voltage to another. It keeps it the same, but it isolates it. So there's no leaks or anything on the outlet side of it. So anyway, I had to buy one of those, put it in, and it worked. And we put the GFCI back in. So really, really stoked about that. Yeah. So that was a big thing that I accomplished today. And I was really happy that the isolating transformer worked. Also, I see that for some reason in the chat widget, it looks like it doesn't show up from YouTubers for some reason. I don't understand that. That seems strange to me. YouTubers' comments don't show up there, and I don't know why that is. Again, one more thing to go weird, right? I'll try to have everything fixed by the next live stream. But anyway, the other thing I did is I tried I tried to use have you ever used those things that plug into the electrical outlet and plug into another electrical outlet, and they like supposedly like power line, they're called, or something, where you can like do Ethernet over a house's power lines? I tried to connect the garage to the house that way, so I could have Wi-Fi on the inside of their house over the power line connector, and it worked okay. Yeah, it has to be on the same phase. I learned that at my farm because it wasn't. But in this case, it was on the same phase, so it worked really well. But it worked really well when it worked well, and then sometimes it would just drop packets like crazy. And I don't know if there was some device in their house that caused all sorts of noise, or I honestly could not figure out why. It was just randomly, usually once a day, not at the same time, not for the same amount of time. It would just be this horrible noisy connection, and their Wi-Fi in the house would be unbearably bad. And so, since I was there anyway, I also moved an access point closer to the opposite corner of the garage. So I had to like make a wire and run the wire and drop it into a corner of the garage closest to the house. And then I moved their in-house access point a little bit closer to the garage in the house. And now I'm just using a mesh. I use Unify stuff, so even their non-meshing stuff will mesh. And as of right now, that's what's happening. Now, it's not a great signal. The meshing, 5 gigahertz mesh is not super strong. It kind of needs to be relocated a little bit closer to the garage, but it seems to be working more reliably than the power line thing did. So anyway, that was my nerdiness for the day. It could be an unstable ground, and especially HipDad, since it's going through two different buildings. I mean, the ground could be different. I don't know how it's set up, but anyway, it's there's something weird going on there. So I'm hoping that the meshing Wi-Fi, even though it's not a rock solid, super strong signal, it's like, I don't know, it's like minus 50 decibels. And it seems like a solid connection, did like speed tests and stuff, and it worked, even if it's not perfect. So my hope is that that does the trick, and I don't have to do anything more for them. I don't want to like drill holes in their house. I feel bad about that. So right now it's just sitting behind their television. The little round Unify access point is literally just sitting on their TV stand behind the television, and it seems to be getting a good enough signal. So anyway, that's what I did in the world of nerdy today. And yeah, I did get 3 skills completed, so that worked. Hi, Mary. I guess that's about it. I don't know. I really truly, oh, you know what I think it is? I think that since I have Streamlabs, which is what I'm using to do the live streaming. It's set up to use the Inside the Brain of Sean YouTube channel. So that's why the chats aren't showing up on screen, even though because I'm streaming to a different channel. So I think that's what the deal is. So yeah, at least I know why all the chats aren't showing up. But the thing about Restream that I like is that the bot will actually copy messages back and forth. So if somebody on Twitch says something, it shows up natively in YouTube. I mean, it says Restream bot, but then it says who said it, and what platform they're on. So I think Restream really has the ticket there. I haven't found any solution that does that apart from Restream. I thought this one was, but I see that it doesn't. So anyway, samples and tests. By any chance this computer linked to the YouTube account? Yeah. Oh, so yeah, here I can pop this up. And yeah, samples and tests figured out before I did. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's the Streamlabs is linked to the other YouTube channel. So I still, even if it was working as designed, I still don't love it because it doesn't do the thing where it sends messages like to, native chat messages. But anyway, I digress. And yeah, as far as my Mac Studio goes, I honestly don't have any idea there. I did get a notification one time that log D quit, but that was the only message that I got, and all of a sudden it just stopped responding. And I could ping it, but I couldn't SSH into it. So I don't know. There's a weird thing going on. Something weird is going on in Mac Studioville. So thankfully I'm over here, and I don't normally use the colored background for my work videos. So this isn't quite like this isn't exactly like CBT Nuggets looking stuff. This is a fancy lighting. So without it, it looks like, where is it? Do I not have it? Backdrop. There we go. So I'd normally just do a gray backdrop, but this now looks like CBT Nuggets minus the chat. So y'all get the fancy lights, which are all DMX lights, and yeah, far too elaborate for the effect, and it's not even that great of an effect. But nevertheless, yeah. So if anybody has any questions, we could talk about anything today. My green is mostly washed out now. I'll probably re-green it, but I don't know. I'm not in a huge rush. Life is too chaotic. We do have an offer on our farm, and we have to respond by 7 p.m. tonight. which is an awesome problem to have, except there are two other potential offers that may or may not come in. So if we accept the one that we have, it's a fairly low ball offer, but if we accept that and then other ones, they try to give it to us, we've already accepted the first one. So I don't know. We'll see what happens between now and 7 p.m. our time. See if we get any other, but I don't know. Nevertheless, we will probably by the end of today have accepted an offer. So that'll be nice. And then the offer that we actually have on hand, it doesn't potentially close until the end of January, and there's lots of contingencies. Hip Dead, we have countered this offer. It's gone back and forth a couple times. So this is their absolute final offer. And yeah, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. But there's a lot of contingencies with this one. Like they have to sell their house and they have to do yeah, there's just a bunch of stuff. So nevertheless, but it is what it is. I mean, if it works, it works. If not, that's fine too. The snow added a wrinkle to things, which was a real bummer. But now it's kind of melty out. There was a showing today, and they did have to plow to get in there. But yeah, it's I don't know, it's slushy, and that means that the remaining stuff in the house and barn that we have to get out of there is going to be a challenge to get out because the barn. I mean, there's not a road to the barn. We have to go across the grass, and it's all snowy, so we might have to do some silly work there. Oh, this is going to be a tough one. Let's see. Azico X. I want to learn Linux for, here, I'll pop it up on the screen because you can't see it on the one thing. I want to learn Linux for server network projects. What do you advise? Learn via official docs or via certifications? If via certifications, then which ones? If you want to learn Linux for server network projects, I recommend you learn by doing, if I'm being completely honest. Problem solving and figuring it out and getting down and dirty with it is a great way to go. I mean, you don't need an actual certification to be able to do it. So if you're looking for like a well-rounded amount of stuff to figure out, you could also look at certification objectives. Like go through my Linux Plus course that's not quite complete. Look at my Linux Essentials course that is complete, and get a feel for the stuff out there, and then just start doing projects. Build a small little home lab. Doesn't have to be huge. It could just be like your desktop computer and install some VMs and just start playing. Or, if you have an extra server, install something like Proxmox on it so you can, install multiple containers and servers and just start doing stuff. That's a really great way to figure it out. And yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff on my channel that should help get you going, or even give you some ideas on some fun projects like with Docker and stuff to just get a feel for how stuff works. And I guess that's my recommendation. Wizpaw, I appreciate that. It's oh man, I worked hard on it, but it isn't done, and that's it's hard for me to recommend people go there and then it not be complete. But what's there, I tried to make pretty thorough and pretty awesome. So yeah, it's a fun place to start. I know they're not showing up for anybody who's not there, but let's see. Northern Chimp says start with this channel. I appreciate that. I don't know. Maybe try Over the Wire Banner. I don't know what that is, but that's cool. We should look at that. My Linux Plus course. That's very kind. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, projects. Let's see. Working on. Oh, I'll pop it up again because. Working on Cloud Plus, AWS, and Linux Plus at the same time. And oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I can't really make any cloud videos, but that's okay because I'm just learning as I go with the cloud stuff anyway. I'm not a developer, so the cloud stuff is a big challenge for me. Bite Moose says, watch Sean's SSH vids to help you jump around the servers easily. SSH is amazing. It's really like the Swiss Army knife in the Linux world. You can do so much with SSH. I mean, connect to other computers, but also redirect traffic from one port on one computer to another port on another computer. You can establish a connection through through an internal network or to an internal network that isn't open from the outside by establishing a connection from inside to some remote place outside, and then you connect to that remote place that is accessible and tunnel in. SSH can do some amazingly cool things. So yeah, I appreciate that, Russell. I don't know if I'm a Linux guru, but I'm a nerd who really likes to use Linux. So it is what it is there. And yeah, Linux usually is works well for me. The Mac Studio behind me that failed today, not so much. Usually it's good. I don't know what the deal is with it. Why I'm completely clueless why it quit working. I mean, as much as I love Linux, Mac OS is usually pretty rock solid, but in this case, I don't know, something's going on. Maybe there's a piece of hardware that's failing, so I'll have to like unplug all the devices and then plug them in one at a time and see where things fail. Ugh. I hate that kind of trouble. I like troubleshooting. I hate troubleshooting when it's trying to figure out what's wrong with my own stuff. I just want my own stuff to work reliably. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the kinds of things that make you a better computer user, when you have like a desktop that locks up, I mean, the first thing you do is unplug all the peripherals that you can, plug them in one at a time, use it with just a mouse and keyboard for a little while, make sure it doesn't lock up, then plug in one more thing. And if it works for a while with that, you just keep plugging things in one at a time until something breaks. And yeah, we'll go from there. And yeah, Proxmox. Now, what is it? Does anybody remember the one that, like Lawrence Tech? What does he use? XG? I don't know. He uses some other virtualization platform, but I really, really like Proxmox. I do. I just think Proxmox is cool. That said, I do want to play with yes, that is it. ICANARTIG. Yes. XCP NG. That is the virtualization platform that some other really smart people prefer. I've never used it. I have a Proxmox cluster set up. And the thing I like a lot about Proxmox, but Proxmox allows you to set up Ceph, CEPH, in the like natively inside of Proxmox. And so I have a 3-server cluster, and each one of the servers has 2 like 4 terabyte SSD drives. And I can add all of those SSD drives to the Ceph file system, and they're all shared, and they're reliably redundant over all 3 servers, shared over 10 gigabit backend networking. So it makes for some amazing ability to migrate virtual machines and stuff from one server to another. So yeah, I really like Proxmox, but yeah, XCPNG. I've never used it, but that's apparently another really good one to play with too. Bum, bum, bum. We're going to talk about Alex. Is that his name from Lawrence Systems or whatever? The Michigan guy with the ponytail? Is his name Alex? I've never met him. I just know he's from Michigan, and yeah. I don't know who Alex is though. Who's Alex? I'm not Alex. I know Alec. I mean, I don't know him, but Alec from Technology Connections, that's a fun YouTube channel. I really enjoy his channel. If you haven't subscribed to Technology Connections, you should. He's a fun guy. Oh, okay. All right, fair enough. But anyway, yeah, let's see what else is going on. I guess that's about it. I think I'm pretty much over all my lingering COVID stuff. I still have an occasional cough, but I was able to do a bunch of videos on Thursday or Wednesday and Thursday, and my voice started to get tired, but I didn't. I wasn't failing. I would cough, but I recovered quickly. So, Hip Dad, you co-host of them. Okay. Let's see. I live in Italy. Can I be a Linux system admin? I mean, yeah. Internet's the internet. I assume you can be. I don't think there's anything anti-Linux in Italy. I would hope not. You go to the dentist Wednesday to see if your teeth are poisoning you. Fascinating. Um, I don't see my orthodontist until January, and he thinks they're gonna have to put braces on the tops and further back. I have blacks here. I have such a hard time with my braces that I really wish I would have just stuck with the crooked tooth. It drives me nuts that I'm still in braces in there, and it's only going to get worse. And I can't just have them take them off now because the reason I have to get the top braces and like extended further back on the bottom is because, yeah, the tooth is straight. It was straight after a couple of months, but now the rest of my teeth are all like discombobulated and they don't line up. So I can't properly close my mouth. My teeth don't line up anymore. And that's what he's been like working on for months now, just trying to get my teeth to line up. And oh, it's so frustrating. I'm struggling so much I just wish I would have left my teeth crooked. I had one crooked tooth from an injury. I should have just left it. But um, anyway, Hip Dad, my teeth are dead and falling apart. Oh, ow, ow, ow. If it sounds painful, if it's painful, I'm so sorry for that, Hip Dad. Jarek, hey Sean, I'd like to thank you. Here, I'll pop this up because again, they're not showing up on that window. Hey Sean, actually, thank you so much for all your courses. You're one of the people that made me believe I can eventually make a living using Linux. Nice. Currently working on the Red Hat Certified System Administrator thing. That's awesome. And you know what's funny? I have when I worked for CBT Nuggets, I made a course for that, but because Red Hat is so funny about their um, intellectual property, like I wasn't allowed to say it was a course for Red Hat at all. So at the time, this was before the CentOS debacle. CentOS was just a like a byte for byte copy at this point. I had to make I called it the CentOS Certified System Administrator prep course. And I taught the whole thing with CentOS, and I had to never once mention Red Hat. But I obviously used all the Red Hat objectives when I made the course. So it was really kind of this like funny inside joke that as I was making the videos, I would like allude to it being Red Hat, but I couldn't say that, or Red Hat would give CBT Nuggets a cease and desist. So yeah, I don't know what they're doing now. And I don't know if they're quite as adamant about it now. But I'm not doing the Linux courses there anymore. So yeah, so it's a moot point. And I just always thought it was funny that we weren't able to call it what it was, but I called it something that should have been clear. And yeah, anyway. And no, CentOS did not deliver certs. But at that point, it wasn't like CentOS Stream or whatever it was. That was back when CentOS was just a byte for byte copy of RHEL, and you could use it, and everything was exactly the same. And so, yeah, I just named it that, but with CentOS instead of Red Hat, and it was pretty clear what it was, but without saying it. So we never got a complaint from Red Hat about the course. So yeah, it is what it is. Russell, I went in trying to get the Invisalign stuff, but I have a bite guard at night because apparently I grind my teeth, and they said that I was not a candidate for Invisalign because I grind my teeth at night and have to wear a mouth guard, so they couldn't give me Invisalign. But then ironically, when my teeth started moving, my mouth guard doesn't fit right anymore, so I'm not wearing a mouth guard at night now anyway. So it seems like I could have just gone with Invisalign to begin with, but yeah. But I digress. Arrgh. Makes me angry. Oh goodness. Let's see. Let's see. I know you mentioned that at some point. Red Hat is weird about it. Ah, yes, yes. Oh, just finished my Linux server course from CBT. Amazing to talk to you. Cool. That's so the server administrator course, was that the one that's on like who bought it? Somebody bought it, like code somebody on YouTube, like this 5-hour course that's on YouTube. Is that the one that you watched, Jarek? Because it was funny when that was first released, so many people thought that they had like pirated my CBT Nuggets course. Oh, yikes. They thought they had pirated my CBT Nuggets course, but it turns out that whoever it is, Code, so I can't remember who it was, but Free Code Camp or whatever YouTube channel it is, really big YouTube channel. They actually bought the rights from CBT Nuggets, so I thought that was funny. But anyway, yeah. So that was it was a fun course. I did that course a very long time ago, so it's neat that it still gets views all these years later. They follow you on Facebook or their social. I mean, yeah, anybody's welcome to follow me on any platform. Free Code Camp Jerk. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hold on. So I'm sorry, I'm behind on comments here. And yeah, so you're right here, Northern Chimp. That's exactly what I talk about now is Rocky Linux. What do I think about canonical Ubuntu Essentials? I don't know this one. Is this like is this an Ubuntu specific Linux Essentials course? I like the Linux Essentials course from LPI because it's distribution agnostic. I really like that about it, but I don't know anything about it. As a co-X, I do not know anything about it, unfortunately. Was there a question that I missed? Oh no, here, I'll just here, I'll put this. Anybody who wants to see all my links, they're there. That should take you to just a page, like just a landing page with different links on it and stuff. So anyway. Oh, this week, just doing work. I mean, Christmas is coming. Next weekend, our exchange daughter graduates from Michigan State, so I have to go down for graduation, and then she'll be home for 6 months while she applies for the doctorate program at MSU. So that's interesting. Yeah. Oh, Camtech. Is Linux Administrator still in demand? I honestly, I don't know. I don't think by itself. I think that Linux administration, you know, classically on its own, probably not. I think Linux administration with, you know, DevOps and management and orchestration skills, along with probably an ability to do cloud computing, especially hybrid cloud computing, you know, where there's some in the cloud, some on-prem, and some communication between the two. I think all of those things would make a person more employable. Just a traditional working on bare metal Linux servers, not as much, I wouldn't think. You'd have to be able to do all the other stuff, especially like, you know, orchestration and management of large numbers of servers. And if that's what you mean by a system administrator, then I mean, maybe. Yeah, I don't have a great feel for the job market right now. When my job switched, when I got laid off from the sysadmin job that I had and went back to CBT Nuggets, it's kind of just been this drinking from the fire hose situation. And so I have lost touch with what the current job market looks like, and I'm just trying to tread water myself. So yeah, will I be doing Inside the Brain of Sean stream this week? Bite Moose, I'm not sure. And I only did like 1 or 2 last week, and I meant to do it every single day. I like to do that, so maybe I should force myself to. It really does help me get more work done when I need to sit here, because there's the potential for people to watch. It's easier for me to wander away when I don't have any accountability. So I will try. I'll say that. You changed my camera setup, just looks better crawling. Oh, hold on, let's see. This is because my Mac Studio that I normally stream from just locks up for some reason right before the stream started. So this is actually my work computer. I'm streaming from my work computer, and that's why the chat's a little bit wonky and stuff like that. But yeah, it's and this camera is an Elgato Facecam Pro, which is a cool camera. I like it. And I have Elgato Air lights, a key light, a fill light, and then I have a hair light or a backlight above me. And I guess that's about, oh, and then the background is just it's just a screen I pull down, and then I have some DMX colored lights that are pointed at it just for a wacky pattern. So anyway, that's what's going on there. It's harder for me to keep up with comments in this format here. Let's see. Do I drink beer? You know what? I am not a huge beer fan. I've tried for years, decades, I guess, because I'm really getting old, but to like beer. I don't hate Newcastle Brown Ale. If somebody has a Nuki Brown Ale, I will drink that and actually enjoy it. But anything that's really hoppy, like especially IPAs are double horrible in my mind. I just don't really love those kind of beers. Um, I'll also have like the Leinenkugel shanties where it's like half beer, half lemonade. I'm okay with those too. But for the most part, I don't love beer. Uh, let's see. Job market in the IT is really bad at the moment. We have a guy with a master's degree and only just got in. Oh, that's rough. Uh, yeah, that's rough. And it's yeah. Um, I I I'm only just sad in that regard, because I'm grateful that I have the job that I have, although it's a challenge for me because of the way the pay structure works. But nevertheless, I'm very glad that I have the job that I have. Zico X. What do I think about Linux and Enterprise? Will Ubuntu reach Red Hat level? I don't know. I kind of doubt it, only because Red Hat's so entrenched in the corporate world, and Ubuntu has gotten like a little wacky in my mind. Like some people just don't like Ubuntu at all anymore. I don't know. I prefer a Debian base, but Red Hat is definitely kind of the corporate standard at this point. So, Jarek, do I speak any foreign language? No, I tried really, really hard to learn Spanish because I spoke well, it was remotely, but I spoke for a group in the Dominican Republic, and I really wanted to be able to like at least answer questions in Spanish. But I tried, and I'm not. I have an old crusty brain apparently, but now one of my daughters, has married a man who's bilingual and speaks Spanish fluently. So there is hope that I will eventually speak Spanish, but at this point, no, I still don't speak any other language, unfortunately. I do speak Bash well, I suppose. Well, and I don't know if it's well, but I can hack my way through that. Yeah. Uh, let's see. Hold on. So, do I think drinking alcohol is not good with working in IT? Um, I mean, I don't think drinking alcohol while doing any job is particularly wise. I think, but yeah. I mean, I prefer like cocktails more than I do beer, but I don't think any of them would make working in any field uh, more successful, at least not during work hours. uh, Andy Carlson, hey, it is great to see you, man. Yeah, we were messaging for a while, then we kind of stopped. We should pick up where we left off because I'm still interested in that sort of thing. Then I got COVID, and yeah, the world kind of fell apart here, but nevertheless, yeah, it's good to see you. Uh, I let's see. Do I need to? Oh wait, how did I miss this? I see it on the screen, but I'm just gonna answer right here. Shani, do you find you need to story out a project to learn something new? As I'm struggling with DevOps stuff for the sake of learning it. Yes. And I don't know where this went. So just that bottom message right there to answer Shane. So for me, I need to I'm not really good at doing stuff just to do it. I really like to have an end result. And then if I'm trying to accomplish an actual thing, that's where I learn it. And Docker has been fun for me in that because Docker, for some reason, was always just fun for me to do. And Ansible as well. Being able to automate things using Ansible was a lot of fun. And that's like, if I were to orchestrate stuff, it would be using Ansible would be a key tool in there somewhere. But yeah, I really like I really like to solve a problem using Linux and open source tools, and getting from having the problem to solving the problem is really where all the learning takes place. Um, let's see. R. Russell, is Linux Plus worth the effort? I'm command line phobic, but I'm willing to take it on. So my take on certifications is almost always, if having the cert will help you either get a raise or potentially get a job or get that interview, then yes, it's worth it. But either way, preparing for the cert, I think, is definitely worth it, because the knowledge itself is amazing. Whether or not you pay for the test and you get the certification, the knowledge that you learn from, especially things like LPIC 1 or Linux Plus, I just think it's an invaluable way to get a well-rounded view of Linux, right? Because it covers just such a wide variety of stuff that you really do get a feel for what Linux can do, and then it will help. Then you can apply it into whatever else you're doing. So I don't necessarily think people should pay to get the letters behind their name without a reason for it. If those letters behind your name are going to help you, like I said, get a raise or get the interview, or then yes, by all means, do it. But either way, that knowledge is invaluable. So, yeah. And yeah, don't worry about the command line. It's if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's not it's intimidating, but it's not that bad. And you'll get to the point where you'll be like, oh, it's a real pain to try and figure this out with the GUI. I'll just do it with a command line, and I truly think that's the case. So yeah, and the funny thing is, if you do end up using a GUI tool to like configure Linux, all it's doing is manipulating the text config files behind the scenes. So you can usually save yourself time just by figuring out how to make the stuff work behind the scenes using the command line. Andy Carlson is more of a Linux purist. I love LXC. You know what? So I had never used LXC containers until I started using Proxmox. And before I started using Proxmox, before I installed it, I saw that it supported containers. And in my mind, that meant Docker containers. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. So like what I was excited about is, so does that mean there's like, the actual hypervisor like directly supports Docker, and will it like migrate Docker containers, from server to server like Kubernetes? I mean, how does this actually work? Well, no, Proxmox supports LXC containers, which are truly containers, but not like Docker. You basically get a whole operating system that you can work with. So I use LXC containers a lot in Proxmox for things when I want, where I used to install a whole virtual machine. Now, usually a container will do it as well. So anyway, those are top of my list to do: Ansible, Docker, Kubernetes, real-time monitoring. Any suggestions on how to approach a new project? Yes. So like Ansible, if you want to learn Ansible, I mean, there's some basics that you can learn to, know how it works, but then do something like try to install a Matrix server using the Ansible script that's available on GitHub. It's very robust. And then you can like pick it apart and figure out what it's doing, while you're playing with a Matrix server, which is pretty cool in and of itself. But yeah, I mean, if you can come up with anything that you want to do, if you want to just host like a web server or something, figure out different ways to do it. Like, oh, I want to make a static web server, and I want to, script the installation with Ansible, on a fresh server, I want it to start serving stuff. I mean, that's a good way to start with Ansible. Just learn how to install a, oh, excuse me, I also stepped on the cat, freaked it out. Learn how to install Ansible or Apache with Ansible. I mean, it's a very basic thing to do at first, and just start small and do stuff like that. So thank you. Yeah, and Kubernetes, I mean, I just learned Kubernetes to teach it in the cloud. It's a pain in the butt, but they do make some like Kubernetes all-in-one things where you can install a Kubernetes cluster just like on one machine. And I have to be careful, I can't teach too much about it, but yeah, if you just search for like easy to install Kubernetes clusters, you could do that. I know Techno Tim did some stuff on Kubernetes clustering that he has set up. That's fun to play with. And then, do something with Kubernetes, how, install some Kubernetes supported applications, and yeah, like Heimdall, or, just different things that you can do, like like a dashboard for your home lab. And that's a project that is hosted in Docker, but you can install it in Kubernetes, or you can install it in Docker proper, or all sorts of stuff like that. Just that's usually what I do, is I try to do something with the thing that I'm learning. Do I think DevOps is really worth it to learn? So I think that not just for the sake of itself, but things, if you learn orchestration and, management of large numbers of systems with DevOps tools, I think that is viable and a really good thing to understand how it works, so that, that's something you can bring to the table. DevOps has just become the way that we do stuff now. It's not necessarily its own field like it used to be. So yeah, I hesitantly say yes, it's worth it, but it's only worth it when you can do the sort of wider scale things, and you're not doing one server at a time. You're orchestrating a number of servers. You're managing a number of servers by maintaining scripts in Ansible, as opposed to, maintaining each one separately. Jarek, one final question for me. Do you use or can recommend an AI chatbot for IT work? I just don't have any. I have no insight here. Somebody else might. Somebody else might know. Might have been using AI chatbot for IT stuff. I just don't. I'm not a user of AI. We're not allowed to use AI at my day job. I'm a little bit embittered by AI, because writing used to be one of my main gigs, and now that's one of the things that AI does well enough that people are losing their jobs. So I get a little bit angry with AI, but it's not going anywhere, and my curmudgeon self is not going to change the future at all. But I just don't have a great insight there. And I guess that's about it. And we're getting close to the end here. It could have gone a lot worse, even though we had technical difficulties. I hope my Mac Studio is okay. I can't replace it, so I got to figure out what's going on there. Use Chat GPT stuff from Python stuff. Ended up going through code and fixing it. Yeah, I have a group of friends that really, really use AI stuff and the different models. And I mean, you can get there's like Hugging Face or Face Hugger or something that has like a bunch. It like works with some front ends to download different models, and then if you have a GPU, it's actually something that can all run locally, so you're not paying for time on Chat GPT. I don't even know how the payment structure and stuff works, but nevertheless, it's something that you can install locally and use as well. So the thing about AI that's important to remember is it will eloquently tell you things that may or may not be true. So, I mean, do not ever trust that what you're getting is true. And like Blight Moose said there, if you get code, a lot of times it's decent code, but you have to go through because it could have a glaring error, and the AI doesn't care. Blight Moose, yeah, it's not really, and that's the thing. I mean, AI is kind of a misnomer at this point. What we have are large language models. I mean, LLMs are pretty much what all the chatbots are. They're just large language models, and they happen to have a base of knowledge that is like the internet, and they are just rehashing a lot of stuff out there. So anyway, Russell, I hope that I keep chugging away with the Linux Plus videos as well. We'll see what happens this week. So I have a week and a half before the end of my next pay period. So if I can churn through some day job videos and then have a little bit of time left over, that's when I'd be able to focus on stuff like YouTube. It's weird. My YouTube channel has grown a lot the past 2 months, and I've done nothing. So, I mean, that's great, but also I feel weird. Like, I don't want to jinx it. Like, if I put out a video, is it going to kill any growth? I mean, that's ridiculous, I know, but I didn't do anything for the growth recently. So anyway, yeah, we're about done. So, thanks everybody. I appreciate it. Have a great evening. Wish me luck on my Mac Studio. I don't know what was going on there. I hope that I can figure that out, because that'll make everything suck if my Mac Studio is dead. I'll have to figure something else out. I don't know what. So have a great one. And I'm gonna finish like I used to finish, like it's a YouTube video. Remember to learn everything, do what you love, and most importantly, be kind. Hopefully I'll see you soon.